a moment that electrified both the press room and the nation, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt made headlines during what was expected to be a routine press briefing. The session took a sharp turn when a reporter brought up former President Barack Obama's recent criticism of the current administration's immigration policies. Obama had described the measures as regressive and lacking compassion, prompting a wave of debate among political commentators. But Leavitt wasn't rattled. She was ready. Stepping up to the podium with her trademark confidence, she leaned into the microphone and delivered a response that silenced the room. It's ironic to hear such critiques from someone whose administration deported more individuals than any other in U.S. history, she said firmly, citing Department of Homeland Security statistics. We will not be lectured on compassion by someone who separated countless families and expanded detention facilities during his presidency. The air in the room shifted. Cameras clicked furiously. Reporters looked at each other, some stunned, others scribbling notes rapidly. Leavitt's bold remarks instantly went viral. Within minutes, clips of the exchange were circulating online, with hashtags like Karoline claps back and Obama called out, trending across Twitter and Instagram. Some praised her courage, others called it unprecedented. But one thing was clear. Karoline Leavitt had once again captured the national spotlight, and she wasn't backing down. But Leavitt didn't stop with a bold soundbite. She came armed with receipts. Turning to a prepared slide deck, she laid out a series of hard-hitting statistics that stunned many in the room. According to official records, more than 3 million deportations were carried out during Barack Obama's presidency, a figure so high that several immigrant advocacy groups once labeled him the Deporter-in-Chief. The nickname wasn't from political opponents, but from communities directly impacted by those policies. While rhetoric is important, actions speak louder, Leavitt declared, clicking through graphs and comparisons. Our administration is focused on building a fair, lawful, and compassionate immigration system, while learning from the failures of the past. Her presentation went beyond raw numbers. It highlighted the differences between the two administrations in several key areas: conditions in detention centers, transparency in asylum application processes, and the humanitarian standards at the border. One slide compared photos of overcrowded facilities from 2014 to more recent efforts at providing cleaner, safer temporary housing. The press corps watched closely. What started as a verbal exchange turned into a calculated shift in narrative. Leavitt wasn't just defending her administration. She was turning the spotlight squarely onto Obama's track record. And she made it clear. Criticism was welcome, but it had to come with accountability. The confrontation didn't just echo within the press room. It exploded across the nation. Within hours, it became the lead story on every major news outlet, from CNN to Fox News. The boldness of Karoline Leavitt's remarks triggered a tidal wave of responses across the political spectrum. Television pundits lined up on both sides of the debate. Some hailed her for daring to hold a former president accountable, applauding her command of facts and willingness to challenge established figures. Others, however, were quick to accuse her of political deflection, suggesting the move was a distraction from more pressing issues facing the administration. On social media, the moment went viral. Hashtags like Karoline claps back, Leavitt vs. Obama, and Press Room Showdown began trending on X, formerly Twitter. Supporters praised her candor and tenacity, sharing clips of her speech with captions like "Finally, someone says it," and "Truth bombs at the podium." Her calm, confident delivery struck a chord with many who felt previous administrations had skated by without scrutiny. But not everyone was impressed. Critics questioned the timing, wondering if the administration was pivoting attention away from its own shortcomings. Still, political analysts noted the strategy might be working. In their view, Leavitt's unapologetic stance could galvanize the conservative base, positioning her as a bold voice not afraid to challenge the legacy of political giants. Digging beneath the surface, it became clear that Karoline Leavitt's fiery rebuttal was far from spontaneous. Multiple sources inside the administration confirmed that this moment had been in the works for weeks. Leavitt and her communications team had been closely monitoring public statements from former officials, particularly those from Barack Obama, which they believed were misrepresenting Tea policy positions. According to aides, the strategy wasn't about picking a fight, it was about reclaiming the narrative. "This wasn't personal," said one senior staffer. "It was about correcting the record and standing firm on what this administration truly represents." The insider added, "We respect the service of past leaders, but we can't allow selective memory or political nostalgia to rewrite history. Facts matter. Accountability matters." The moment also served as a striking example of the changing role of the modern press secretary. Once viewed as a behind-the-scenes figure or simply a spokesperson reading prepared statements, Leavitt is part of a new wave of political communicators, aggressive, informed, and unafraid to challenge even the most revered figures in American politics. Her response wasn't just a defense, it was a message. This administration would not be defined by the narratives of the past, but by its own convictions, data, and directness. In the days that followed Karoline Leavitt's explosive briefing, the political world remained abuzz. Her confrontation with former President Obama quickly evolved beyond a single news cycle. It became a focal point in political communication courses and media strategy discussions nationwide. Professors and analysts pointed to the moment as a textbook example of narrative control, how a single, bold statement could redirect the national conversation and reframe a controversial issue. Sensing the public interest, the administration didn't waste time. They leaned into the momentum, launching a series of targeted initiatives focused on immigration reform. These efforts emphasized transparency, streamlined asylum processes, and a renewed commitment to humane border policies, clearly designed to contrast with past administrations. The move was both political and practical, aimed at showing progress while acknowledging missteps from previous leadership. As for Leavitt, the event marked a defining moment in her career. Regardless of where one stood politically, few could deny her growing influence. Her ability to seize the spotlight, deliver fact-based critiques, and shift the dialogue cemented her reputation as a formidable force in Washington. Love her or loathe her, Karoline Leavitt had made it clear. She was here to stay, and she wasn't afraid to speak her mind.